So the OTC is back and setting up what looks like a likely match with Braun Breaker at SummerSlam, and quite frankly, I am all down for that. I think I will be an absolute banger of a match. Yeah, to kind of like rewind, this match, this episode of Raw started off with Naomi obviously coming out and cutting her promo after she won the women's title at the end of Evolution in obviously spectacular style. So yeah, we had Naomi come out, cutting the promo, and again, I just think that if I haven't said it already, I think the heel work and Naomi is doing is just brilliant. I just love the over the top, the maniacal laugh, and everything about it. I just think she's just why did WWE wait for so long to turn this girl heel, really? Because it's just she's so good at it. So this, rather than not so unexpectedly, prompted Rhea Ripley to come out, and then we had Io Sky come out. Obviously, neither of them are particularly happy with what went down at Evolution. So then we had Adam Pearce come out and make it official, which was kind of like one of the least surprising things we'll hear all night, which was that we were going to have a triple threat match between Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, which again I just think will be just brilliant. And like I said, I think like Io Sky and Rhea Ripley in particular are just bound to do this forever. Because they're just so damn good at it. So yeah, from then on we had a tag team match between Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez against Kabuki Warriors. This was another one that kind of like was kind of like where Evolution was kind of like a launching pad for this match. Again, I just thought this was another really solid match. It was kind of good to kind of like have that indication of where the Kabuki Warriors were going to, what their placement was going to be in WWE, if Evolution was just going to be kind of like a one and done for them, or are they just like totally back now full time as a tag team? And it seems they're back full time as a tag team, so which is just great. Which I think is just I think obviously the Raw division as tag team division especially really needs this right now. So yeah, the more tag teams we can get back now on Raw competing, the better, I think. And it's particularly encouraging to see that they're finally given kind of faith and notice to the women's tag team division at the minute, because it seems they've been abandoning that for about this past 6 months or so. So yeah, that was good. Obviously, never the time to take the titles off Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. So obviously it saw them two picking up a win and retaining. And I just also think it's just a really good. I can see these. See Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, just whatever matchups they have, I just see them kind of like retaining, because for a while now, at least until Liv Morgan comes back, because it just seems to be the angle right now that they just want to kind of like see what happens when Liv Morgan comes back, and obviously she sees that Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez are now tag team champions, and we kind of like have this little bit of a almost triad that's kind of like a little bit similar, a bit although less dramatic than Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi, and that kind of like triad where someone else has just kind of like moved in on the turf. Yeah, and I'm all down for that as well. I can, if that is if they do follow that through, I'm all here for that. I'm really intrigued to see how that works out as well. Um, so um, so yeah, we then had running back another match, obviously from WWE Evolution, which was we had Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Lyra Valkyria and Bailey. Coming out and having a two out of three falls for who was going to challenge Becky Lynch at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental title. This again was just another absolute banger of a match. Obviously we know that how good the chemistry is between these women. Just another banger match. I thought the stipulation 2 out of 3 falls was utilised really well. It went on. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel anything like that. It went on just the right time. We had just over counters, near falls, 1-2 or all of this stuff. It was just great. And we eventually had Lyra Valkyria picking up the win after Becky Lynch got the first pin, and Lyra Valkyria got the following two. So this then led it to Becky Lynch coming out, and she came out dressed in yellow and red, clearly trolling the whole Becky Hogan bitchiness that she's kind of like subject to online. So I just thought that was really fun. I just thought it was really neat that she was kind of like trolling that. So it just gave me a good chuckle. So she came out all dressed in red and yellow, and just came into the ring and stood like Valkyria and Becky Lynch just shouting at each other, and they were inaudible shouting at this, but because what they were actually saying to each other wasn't really that important. It was just there to let you know that this is what wrestlers do when they want you to know that this is kind of like serious and it's on. We also had a match here with Chelsea Green against Nikki Bella, and this was preceded with a little bit of a backstage bit between the Secret Service and Stephanie Valkyr. We had Nikki Bella picking up a win here, and so we then had Nikki Bella getting beaten down by the Secret Service, which led to Stephanie Valkyr coming out and helping her out. So this seems to be like another bit that we could maybe be doing for SummerSlam. We could be looking at something between Stephanie Valkyrie and Nikki Bella becoming a tag team and against two of the Secret Service, or we could end up having Stephanie. Although I do probably see that actually being more in happening in one of the Raws. Maybe even next week. Next week we could see, but we could still see a tag team match. Maybe we could. I would say it's probably the most likely, but I will kind of see Stephanie Valkyrie and Chelsea Green having a match at SummerSlam, which I'm not against, but I'm not kind of like really invested in it as well. I think Stephanie Valkyrie is just obviously so over at the minute. Obviously, she's got a title match coming up, but she's not going to. We're not obviously going to do that until Clash of Paris. So obviously we need something for Stephanie Valkyrie. We need this little side quest, and it seems to be the Chelsea Green feud. It seems to be what. what we're kind of gonna get, which it's fine. I just kind of like wish we had something. I think like Stephanie Valkyrie's obviously got such a push. She's obviously such a talent. She's just become one of the almost kind of like top card um, wrestlers. So it just feels like we kind of could be doing something a little bit bigger for her, especially with the enormity of SummerSlam. But I mean, I could be wrong. It could take a hard turn, but it seems to be that's kind of like what is happening here. So we then had a bit of a backstage stuff, which again just made me really chuckle, where Adam, because Dominic Mysterio had intervened and created all these sorts of distractions and interventions in Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez's match against the Kabuki Warriors. He was in the bite, and so Adam Pearce was like, oh, so you're up and about, you're feeling pretty fly, obviously he's meant to be still sporting this injury, which is meaning that he couldn't compete against AJ Styles, and and he was just like, it was just adrenaline, it was like, and it was just so we were gonna basically, so Adam Pearce had basically told him that he was going to have another reassessment from WWE Medical, and then if he was going to get the all clear, then he was going to write out the AJ Styles Dominic Mysterio rematch. So I guess they would just cut to AJ Styles praying for Dominic Mysterio to get a clean bill of health. I just thought all this, and I'm all down for that. I mean, I know it's not going to be everybody's, but I'm fine with wrestling doing these little comedic, silly little spots. I think it's all down. So it seems to be that's another match that's going to be locked in for SummerSlam now, that we're going to get finally Dominic Mysterio against AJ Styles, so the main event here obviously was a gauntlet match to see who faces Gunther at SummerSlam. We had Bron Breakker kicking this off with Penta. We had Penta. We had Bron Breakker beating Penta here, and we had LA Knight coming out, and then we had Jey Uso coming out, and then we had Bron Breakker had worked his way through all of these until we had got to CM Punk, and CM Punk had picked up a win during the Bron Breakker's matches with Jey Uso and CM Punk. We had Bronson Reed intervening, helping Bron Breakker, and it was and so it were, and I've seen some people criticizing that this was able to go on because there was a no disqualification stipulation to this gauntlet match, and people have been. I've seen some people complaining about this, saying that gauntlet matches don't usually have that no disqualification stipulation, and it was just literally kind of like made up on the spot. Yeah, it was probably made up on the spot, but I'm all for that. You know what I mean? I don't mind WWE just kind of having these little cheats and just kind of like making up the rules for whatever kind of like works, as long as there is a work for it, as long as it is kind of moving the needle, then I think all that stuff, because if you are going to complain about that, you might as well just be complaining whenever somebody like intervenes from outside or whatever. So I do feel like, I feel like as long as there's a work to it, as long as it's sort of creating a feud or a character arc, or it's moving the needle in some way, I'm all down for that. And obviously there was definitely a work and the reason why why this was happening. There was a very specific reason why Ron Breakker had to stay till the end, only to be defeated by CM Punk, and so this was because when CM Punk did pick up a win against Ron Breakker and lock him in for a title match against Gunther at SummerSlam, we had Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed beating on CM Punk. We had Jey Uso coming out to help CM Punk, so he went after Bronson Reed. So it looks like we could have another spinning off another match where we could have for SummerSlam. We could have Jey Uso against Bronson Reed, and then we basically had but we ended up with Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker beating down CM Punk and Jey Uso. Here we had Jey Uso and CM Punk on top of each other, and we had Bronson Reed about to climb to the top rope, about to deliver a series of tsunamis, when suddenly the music that we all want to see, the music for the OTC had hit. Yes, the OTC tribal chief had made his triumphant return, and oh my god, this got such a pop from the crowd. This crowd, I don't think I've ever seen a crowd go more wild for Roman Reigns than they did here. It was just electric. They could have just taken the roof off when Roman came out, took out Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Obviously, we had this really nice individual moment where he helped Jey Uso back up, and then and then basically had a little bit of a kind of like a stare down with CM Punk, where they there was just this kind of like non-verbal agreement between them that they weren't going to kind of like start anything because there were bigger things than going on than both of those. But we kind of like knew they weren't all going to kind of hug it out neither. So this just ended up just being obviously just providing just a massive bang for the end of a really solid Monday Night Raw as well. Like I said, it felt like it didn't even feel like an episode of Monday Night Raw with all the kind of like stipulation matches that we go over, 2 hour free falls with Becky Lynch and Laura Valkyria in the gauntlet matches. It felt like almost like a little bit of a mid-card pay-per-view in itself. It really helped to kind of like break down the pacing of this. So this did not feel like a 2.5 hour episode of Raw at all. This would just made it like really fly by the way they structured this episode. So yeah, on the whole, just a really solid episode of Monday Night Raw, and yes, and that pretty much concludes the video. So obviously, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you very much.